new business. First and foremost, we're on the recommendations of the Joint Planning Commission on technology campuses and data center text amendments. First and foremost, I think it is important that we take a minute and thank and show our appreciation for the unpaid volunteer members of our Joint Planning Commission who, with issues such as this, have to take an exorbitant amount of time away from their home, their families, things that they enjoy doing, all for the betterment of our community. None of these individuals are paid or receive any kind of compensation. They do it because they're citizens of Maysville, Mason County. And that, I think the commission will join me in agreeing that we very much appreciate.
Absolutely.
So, they have submitted their recommendations back to the court. Myself, County Attorney John Eskel, Tyler McHugh, others have come up with, I think, a pretty solid effort going forward. And we're going to be looking at special called meetings next Tuesday, the 10th.
17th.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, today's the 10th, right? Next Tuesday, the 17th, as well as the following Tuesday on the 24th. And I think the rules and precedents and procedures that will roll out will continue the transparent and obvious progression of this moving forward. John, you want to walk the
Yes,
commissioners through our thinking?
I'd like when we complete this for the fiscal court to vote on this so we can establish basically rules going forward, and I'll provide this to the clerk, and I think just attach it to the minutes would make some sense. But basically this says that today you'll establish rules for the for acting on the recommendations of the Joint Planning Commission on the application for text amendment. It will be recommended that two special meetings be held, February 17th for first reading and February 24th for second reading and adoption. At the meeting on February 17th, the fiscal court will adopt the record from the public hearings held by the JPC as the fiscal court's records. I would not recommend, and I've never seen it done in Mason County on one of these, that you start from scratch with public hearings and evidence. So at that February 17th meeting, and we'll get George to get them to Sherry before and figure out with Stephanie how we're going to handle making a record because it's going to be voluminous, but we will get all the record from the Planning Commission, both recordings and transcripts. I'll have George make sure you don't have the transcripts yet. That's the question. No.
I've seen drafts.
Okay, so we need to get you the transcripts immediately, and I'll ask George to do that. But it'd be my recommendation that under, and we'll vote on that on the 17th, but there's ample Kentucky case law that says relying on the record of the JPC without taking new evidence is appropriate. At the meeting on February 17th, the court will consider argument-style presentations from proponents of data centers and from opponents of data centers. Each side will be permitted 30 minutes for its presentation of argument or summation of the evidence before the JPC and to recommend a course of action for the fiscal court. Objections can be made to the fiscal court to evidence or materials which are not included in the JPC record. If somebody says, I've got a new study I want you to consider that wasn't in the record at the JPC, I might object and say you can't bring in new things. This is summation and argument. So you think of it as as what a lawyer does at the end of a case, not putting on new evidence. It does not have to be an attorney that argues, but that's the style of the argument, and that's well recognized by Kentucky law, that's appropriate. The 30 minutes may be used by one speaker for each side or divided as they elect. The presenters for the proponents of the data center, and they haven't been determined yet, but I've asked, and I see Mr. Grady's there, I didn't see him before, but I asked Mr. Grady if he would coordinate the opponents' presentations or argument to the fiscal court, and I contacted Tanner Nichols, who represents the Frost Brown Todd, who represents the Prospect company, to organize that side. So it's not open for everybody to make statements, nobody to testify. It's argument style, and that's the way the time will be divided between the two sides. Following arguments or summations of both sides, fiscal court, you can consider recommendations of any consultants, staff members, or others. Such recommendations to be made on the record during the public hearing. And I'm not sure exactly what that would be, but you certainly can consider your recommendations, anybody that's involved in this process. I mean, I know that one time we have a engineering consultant. I don't know whether they would come into play here or not. You can decide that.
Sure.
But,
Yeah.
you know, and that would be, I think, any kind of recommendations or reports like that should be in the same style, and or to answer your questions, probably. George Larger, for instance, would answer your questions if you had any. At the February 17th meeting, the proposed ordinance will be given first reading. At the February 17th meeting, after the first reading, you can consider any amendments, either adoption as is or amendments, and depending on the nature of the amendments, we would decide whether, if there's some contentious items or not a consensus. I think we may have some individual votes going through. And I think JPC handled it sort of in that fashion, but if there's one particular item that stands out that we need to have an individual vote, we will. Those votes don't count for anything other than to give me direction, because it's your second vote and adoption is the only thing that matters. But if we have preliminary show of hand votes or something, it's to give us guidance in coming up with a finished product. Ultimately, it's at the second reading, February 24th, 2026, when you can consider adoption. It's really only that vote counts for anything. But I think that it's with an ordinance such as this, and trying to get a finished product that suits this fiscal court, we might have some individual votes along the way to give direction. Again, it would be your ordinance, not something that I come up with. So that's the proposed rules and procedures for consideration of text amendments. If you have questions, otherwise I would like you to adopt these rules, and I'll give them to the clerk to put in the minutes.
We considered going over to the Justice Center, which the county owns, but I think it's important, you know, that we can film, audio, everything, so that everybody can see it. Everybody can see it. Everybody can see it.
So why are we doing the first reading 1 week and the second reading the second week? Why aren't we waiting a month or so? I mean, to give people time to look at this. Why are we doing it week?
Because that was my suggestion, yeah.
Well, I think we need to put a freeze on that. We need to look at this a lot closer. People are really concerned, and this is a big deal, and we need to look at other ordinances in other counties, states, and see what's going on.
That's what your joint planning commission did
I
for you,
realize
Commissioner.
that, but I realize that. And have they looked at them? They are talking.
Do you have concerns from your meeting when you
I
met
have
with their
concerns
representatives
that
last
we
week?
are rushing through this too quick.
Okay,
That's my concern.
duly noted, duly noted.
The only thing I
It's
would
too-
say in
it's
response,
too quick.
and I didn't pick the dates, but they do work on my calendar.
Yeah.
But the only thing I'd say is, I've read it as in there'd be second reading, but adoption depends on a vote, not on,
I realize that.
I just want to make sure that I've said second reading and adoption. It's consideration for adoption,
Right.
not adoption.
I have a problem with a week apart. That's my problem.
Commissioners?
I mean, I would just say that, we've been discussing this for how many months? I mean, in the
Yes, we
community, and,
have.
I mean, it's not like it's just come up. It's been discussed for many, many months.
That's true, and it's a big deal, and
It
we
is.
still don't know any more about a data center, what their plans are when they get here, if they get here. This is just a big deal to everybody, and we need to think about this.
Commissioner McKay?
It's my understanding from the last meeting, that tells the library, this is the process moving forward.
Correct.
And my understanding is, to answer her questions, and I can understand Kirby Rosser's comments at that meeting, I really do, that if and when adopted, it goes back in front of them for the map amendment. Is that correct?
Correct.
The next step.
The next step?
Correct.
So that's out of our hands, really.
And,
It's just, whether you like the process or not.
This is not applicable to this project, but if there was, when you pass a text amendment, anything in I-3 could be cited for a data center.
Yeah.
I don't think there's suitable, nobody's looking at other I-3 land. I mean, Carmouche is international paper, and are they, Georgia in here? Georgia is here. Is our Charleston Bottoms, is it regular industrial, is it I-3?
I think most of it's I-3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's other I-3 that it could apply to. Nobody's looking at any other I-3 property, but it's, the map amendment is because this property they're looking at is outside the I-3. So yes,
well, and that brings up a good point. I was remiss in not reviewing where we have been and where we're headed. For 2 years, for 2+ years, we have been messing around with this. However, I think it's important we recognize that 2 years ago, our state legislators even just made technology campuses and data centers even a possibility in Kentucky. If with a incentive that if selected by one of these entities is the only incentive that they're available for. And that was 2 years ago at the last budget session. Now, from there, just with that incentive, when you take the same project in Ohio, Indiana, Tennessee versus Kentucky, Kentucky's project total cost is still 10 times what it would be in one of those other states. That's what I mean when I say they just even remotely made it viable by cracking the door. Then we fast forward. We have laid out the text amendment, map amendment plan, where the JPC, unpaid volunteer members of our community, spent countless hours working through this, away from their families, everyone else, to assess what are those guardrails, what are those rules and regulations we want to see for an industry I'm convinced is coming to Kentucky, no matter what. I mean, it's a McDonald's everywhere else in the U.S. There are 500 plus in Ohio, hundreds in Tennessee. Every time you open your phone, one of these things is utilized. So they started that process just with the guardrails. Then I think it is important to remember, once we finalize the text amendment, the guardrails for Mason County, agnostic of any one project, any current interest looking at Mason County will either submit their map amendment highlighting their plan, how it fits inside the text amendment, or they'll probably go somewhere else and boost another community's economy, provide employment for another community's kids, bring in water treatment plants for another community. And so I think we have laid out an extremely transparent, controlled process going forward. I have never in 25 years of doing economic development conveyed more information about a project out to the public other than the name than with this project. Commissioner, yes ma'am, you have a point. If we don't come to a consensus, yeah, we'll come the next Tuesday and the next Tuesday, and, you know. Local government is hard. Your leaders and employees in local government always try and do the right thing. And so, that's our plan. Any questions? Okay.
I have one.
Sure,
How
come
much
forward.
time will those meetings be held? Do you expect?
That's a good point. What time's this for, 9:30?
9.
9 o'clock.
9 a.m.
9 a.m., just like this court meeting.
I won't be able to attend the one on the 17th.
At that time or that day?
That time.
What time's best for you?
I mean, I think it's a good idea to have it after the work.
We'll discuss.
5 to 5:30.
We'll discuss that later, thank you. We have a motion.
Do we,
I would like
as far as the rules, on the rules?
These are the rules. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah. I mean, I like the way the rules are set up, both sides get an opportunity to speak. So I would make the motion that we approve the rules as presented.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and we have a second. Is there any additional discussion? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner McKay?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner O'Hearn?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Frame?
No, ma'am.
Judge McNeil?
Yes, ma'am. John, you have anything else to add?
No.
Good. Commissioners, next up in your packet, we've got old business. In your packet, you will see, and I wanna make sure I got the right resolution number, 26-03. Is that the Melco resolution, John?
I'm sorry, yes.
Okay. And do they have the?
Yes, so 26.3 is, and I've done this, clerk, as a corrected, because it's gonna be it would be the third resolution on the same topic. But basically, our last resolution, 2603, referred to Mitsubishi, this is the Mitsubishi incentive projects, but it referred to Mitsubishi Electric US Inc. And they don't want it to refer to that company, they want to refer to the parent company, which is Mitsubishi Electric US Holdings Inc. So we have slightly changing 2603 to make that change in the name, which corrects what you adopted in January, I think. And that goes back to correct an October 14th, 2025 resolution. So I guess what I'd tell you is we prepared these based upon their instructions, but when it's a $500 million deal, is that right, Judge?
700, John, that's 700.
People start to look at things with my magnifying glass when it's a 700. As our resolution's gone forward, somebody's kicked on it, so we need to correct it. So 2603 corrected is what I call it.
Do we have a new document?
What?
So,
Do we have a new resolution?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
yes,
I don't have it.
sorry, that's because I just did
Melco,
it.
Are you all right? Hey.
I fell.
HVAC US, is gonna be
I fell on
going
my
to the
shoulder
Kentucky
that
Economic Development Finance Authority later this month. They want to doubly check and make sure that there'll be no hangups for, at their incentive meeting, with the correct name. And so this is cleanup work. I do want to say I greatly appreciate County Attorney Eskel in quite a, it's just confusing, getting it. So I think John wrote 15 different we just, but we got it right, And so this will go in their packet, for incentives for, for becoming what will become the largest domestic heat pump manufacturing facility in the United States.
I'd make the motion to approve 26-03 as presented.
Second.
Got a motion, and we have a second. Is there any additional discussion? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner McKay?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner O'Hearn?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Frame?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge McNeil?
Yes, ma'am. I want to hold, I am remiss, my Buffalo Trace friends, I apologize, I should have brought you forward a lot earlier. Can you guys,
If Christie wasn't between me and or the pillar wasn't between us, I would have had her remind me about the burn grade, because I was reading an email from Christie. Sorry, didn't know you were there.
Sorry.
so commissioners, we're going to skip to C. We're going to skip to C, which is the Western Lewis Rectorville Tank Project.
Yes, sir. Mr. Grady would like to address the court.
Yeah, sure,
Does that
give us
think
a second.
appropriate? Let him finish what he's doing, Hank. Hank?
I'm sorry, Hank, give us a second, we got
Let
business
him finish
to
what
do.
he's doing and he'll call on you.
McNeil?
Yes, ma'am. Hey, Hank, come on forward, buddy. Sorry about that, my friend.
Thank you, Judge. Judge, I would like to make a request to the fiscal court. First, I want to thank John Estel. He has called me several times to go over this procedure, and I appreciated that opportunity to contribute to the procedure. It did not occur to me to think about time, and it did not occur to me to think about place. But I've been here this morning, and I've heard those questions come up. On behalf of my clients and in honor of your use of the word transparency, I would urge the fiscal court to hold the meeting on the 17th and the 24th in the Judicial Center, where it is better able to handle a larger crowd. And I would urge you to hold the meeting at 5 o'clock when the public has a better opportunity to attend. I'm glad to be here at 9 o'clock. I got to watch the sun come up this morning as I drove around Lexington.
You were here this morning at 5?
And so I will be here at 9 o'clock
Oh, sure.
on the 17th, and that's when it is. But I think the public is better served if this meeting is held at 5 o'clock on the 17th. Now, the meeting on the 24th, where there may not be an opportunity for argument and public observation, that's less important, but I would recommend that you hold both meetings when the public has a chance to participate. So I certainly agree with the procedures you've adopted, but I would suggest to you that you add two more pieces, and one is meet in a location that is more accessible to the public, better able to be recorded and handle a larger crowd, such as the Judicial Center, which I think you brought up in your comments. And I would recommend meeting at 5 o'clock when I think it is a meeting more favorable to public observation. I realize that not all people are going to be able to speak.
Sure.
But I do think, as Magistrate Frame indicated, this is something the community has a very high interest in.
Yes, sir.
And I think a location that is more accessible than this room is something that the court should consider. I also think that I'm ready to be here on the 17th and 24th. My calendar is clear. But I do think, based on the concerns of Magistrate Frame, that the fiscal court should at least recognize that on the 17th, they may decide that the 24th is too quick, and they may decide to have their second reading at a later date, after they've had time to think about what comments I'm going to be making. I can tell you, I will be asking for some changes in what is coming before you. And I'll be asking for individual things to consider. So I know I'm going to be making that request, and I would invite the fiscal court to make sure that all of you all have enough time to consider what you hear on the 17th before you have to make a final decision.
Thanks.
So that's my request to you. Again, thank you for the opportunity to comment. I look forward to seeing you on the 17th at 9 o'clock or 5 o'clock, wherever you decide to
Thank you,
meet.
my friend.
Thank you.
What would you think, I mean, you've got specific ideas, I don't wanna put you on the spot today. Just helps me organizationally, what if you did something in letter form, what your requests are before the meeting, so we could be thinking about it? I don't know that it wouldn't be good to have a request from the other side about what they're requesting. It can't force you to do it, but it might be good. And I don't know if we distribute to the commissioners or not, or just staff to have it to look at and think, what are the issues here, George and I, or the judge, or everybody, I don't care. But what are your thoughts on maybe having a opponents and proponents suggested changes prior to that meeting?
I can do that. I would like the opportunity to be able to raise things at the meeting that were not on my advanced list. But
Correct. No, I'm not trying to
clearly,
pin you in, but if you have specific things,
Just so nobody's surprised, I'm gonna be asking for a larger setback requirement. I mean, you all know that, okay?
I'm shocked.
So, no shock there. But there are other things like that I will be asking, I know now, I will be asking fiscal court to address or fix or send back to have the planning commission address things that I don't think were adequately addressed. So I'm gonna be making a series of requests to the fiscal court in my 30 minutes. And, I would like for them to be considered sequentially in whatever order you all decide.
If
Hank,
you
I
want
think we
to,
would appreciate seeing those.
if you want to, like the
upfront
Thursday or
stuff.
Friday
Yeah.
before, email me, and then I'll distribute it to the fiscal court, and then we'll make it part of the record. It would not limit you to talking about other things. And if you had a revelation over the weekend that this should be this, not that, nobody's holding it to you. But it would let people absorb, and I think we asked I'll contact Tanner Nichols and ask the same thing. It would let us pinpoint what issues are as opposed to having the bigger,
I'm comfortable doing it on the Friday before, assuming the deadline for me applies to everybody else who's
Yeah.
participating.
no, and I'll distribute them by email to the members of the fiscal court, and then when we start the meeting, we'll put it in the record as something so that the public and those looking back on the record know that the fiscal court saw your letter and anything they sent in advance.
And Hank's like simple, I mean, not 40, 50 pages.
Yeah, not
You know
a
what I mean?
manifesto.
Like 8 pages.
We're focusing on these changes.
Yeah.
I could give you as much as you want,
Okay.
or I could give you as little
I got you.
as you
Do you,
like.
I think we would probably.
do you
read more.
read the 5-page brief, or do you read the 40-page brief?
I know I know the answer. But anyway, thank you for hearing
Thank
me,
you,
and
sir.
I hope you will make some adjustments to your procedure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Hank.